Alright, so what's heading Nine Spiral. Shalom to the home team. YouTube, fair use, fair use. This is called fair use and is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under Title 17 USC 107. Let's go. Alright. Let's cook. Say now. We're digging on the Mothman of Point Pleasant. Now, it's a method to my madness now, so just rock with me. Okay, so are we talking Mothman or are we talking Dracon? I don't know. Let's find out.
This might seem like just another folktale. It begins, like so many rural legends, a car full of kids on a country road as they encounter something frightening and unexplainable. But unlike stories told to children to keep them inside after dark, this particular encounter was real. For 13 months, the citizens of West Virginia were haunted by a bizarre entity that descended like a shadow from the sky. And with it came a symphony of strange and unsettling events that would eventually crescendo.
And what we're gonna do, we're gonna get some history, you know what I'm saying, on the Mothman and West Virginia and what's popping off in that area. But when we do, I want you to listen for some key, you know what I'm saying, terminologies, right? Let's go.
Into the ultimate nightmare. To add to this heightened state, the mysterious entity was not alone. It was accompanied by other seemingly supernatural beings, both from above and below.
Now, they're going to try to turn this into a UFO thing, which they always do, right? So we're going to try to dodge that hijack. So I'm going to see if we can just kind of skip through that part of the hijack. We don't need that.
At the eye of the storm was the tiny town of Point Pleasant, West Virginia, a bustling little burb on the banks of the Ohio River, a town whose people would confront this carnival of horrors head on. Now, thanks to years of pop culture references and a major Hollywood movie, those that live in Point Pleasant may seem like fictional characters to the outside world, but the people are real, and this is their story.
Esto es lo que te imaginas cuando piensas en una granja.
Pop off. Y'all know the hijack never late. This is for educational purposes only.
Since about 1774. So my mother's family, I've lived here for, other than going to college, 58 years. Obviously, Point Pleasant is a rural community. It's a town of less than 5,000 people. And most of the people's families have been here for a very long time. Everyone knows everybody. It's a very close-knit community. In a big city, this would just be a small suburb, and literally it's neighborhoods from end to end. The town's only about 3 miles long.
The Ohio River flows from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania to Cairo, Illinois.
to Cairo, Illinois. Got it.
Access to two major waterways is just one of the reasons Point Pleasant has survived as long as it has. It also boasts a National Guard armory and has been home to various manufacturing facilities for the U.S. Navy, as well as a Naval Reserve Center. Across the river from Point Pleasant lies its sister city of Gallipolis, Ohio. With a population of less than 4,000, most locals think Gallipolis as merely an extension of Point Pleasant. The people of Point Pleasant represent the best of blue-collar America, a people who are both hardy and resourceful.
But it's different. Most of West Virginia is mountains. You're in the High Valley. You're where the two main rivers, the Ohio and Kanawha, come together. So you have a lot of farmland here. You have a rich, fertile river valleys.
Whose land? Huh?
Point Pleasant's
Y'all bear with me, boy. It's storming like a mug in Georgia. Let go.
history is a bloody, messy
Dracons in the ether.
affair. Even to this day, Native American bodies are still buried throughout the area with a mass.
Huh? Native American bodies still buried. Okay, let's go.
Grave located somewhere in the vicinity of what is known as the McClintic Wildlife Management Area. Native tribes in the region traditionally avoided the area of modern-day Point Pleasant due to bad omens associated with lands where waters mingled. However,
I wonder why. Let's go.
they would be forced to stand ground in this very area. In 1774, the Shawnee and Mingo tribes banded together to defend their homes, located south of the Ohio River, from what they perceived as an invading Virginia militia led by Colonel Andrew Lewis. The natives waged a furious battle in an attempt to halt continuous advances into their territory in the now infamous Battle of Point Pleasant. After a vicious fight between the two parties, the natives were forced to retreat and were overtaken by the militia. A Shawnee chieftain by the name of Cornstalk negotiated a treaty with the white men.
Negotiated a treaty with the hijack. The white man. We're talking WIGHT, right? Anybody can be a white. Sign treaties. This is what Tecumseh was trying to get away from. Separation. Why did you sign treaties? Our ancestors were willing to die. Chief Cornstalk.
3 years later, Chief Cornstalk returned to the area for a diplomatic visit at the nearby Fort Randolph. However, upon arriving at the fort, Cornstalk and his sons were taken captive and murdered by the soldiers.
He was the
Now do you see why you can't run a
Diplomatic visit at the nearby Fort Randolph. However, upon arriving at the fort, Cornstalk and his sons were taken captive and murdered by the soldiers.
Now do you see why we say you can't deal with the hijack? Take nothing from them. Take nothing from them. Or we got land for you. Take nothing from them. Hawaii is coming to give us our land back. He don't need no help. Sign treaties and they turn around and kill Chief Cornstalk. This is what Tecumseh was trying to get away from. This is why the Chickamauga separated.
Over a century, Point Pleasant has been plagued with a string of unfortunate incidents that many would call bad luck. On 4 occasions between 1913 and 1937, the Ohio River overflowed its banks, proving catastrophic for the town. The flooding cost citizens thousands of dollars in damage, and worse, untold grief in the number of lives lost. During the early part of the 20th century, with frequent disasters befalling Point Pleasant, rumors about a bizarre Birdman began to circulate. The most startling fact about these Birdman stories is that they occurred over 50 years prior to the Mothman encounters of the 1960s. Professor James Gay Jones of Glenville State College documented multiple sightings of the Birdman in his book, Haunted Valley and More Folk Tales of Appalachia. The sightings began around 1914, with the creature being described as a large bird with the head of a man and a wingspread of at least a dozen feet. It was said to be of monstrous size and was covered in dark, reddish feathers that glistened in the sunlight. According to Jones, sightings of the Birdman persisted well into the 1940s, where it was reported by motorists who drove along the Ohio River just outside of Point Pleasant. These encounters were also said to be a prelude or epilogue to a tragic occurrence.
Bang. Right there. Right there. You hear that? See if we can go back.
Covered in dark, reddish.
Man, keep in mind, right? You know, they talking about something that they don't understand, right? And so we're trying to make the comparison, right? We're trying to connect the dots. Are we talking about dracons or not? Let's find out.
Feathers that glistened in the sunlight. According to Jones, sightings of the Birdman persisted well into the 1940s, where it was reported by motorists who drove along the Ohio River just outside of Point Pleasant. These encounters were also said to be a prelude or epilogue to a tragic occurrence.
A prelude or epilogue to a tragic occurrence, right? Okay, so the thing is, a lot of people, and I'm gonna try to dig on some info in West Virginia. I'm trying to dig up some more info, but a lot of people conclude that this Mothman was there to warn the people, right? There to warn the people. I mean, if you dig on it, it's a lot of people. You're going to find some conflicting accounts, what have you. But there are that school of thought that people believe that they were there to warn them. It was almost like a kept nagging them, making appearances. So we're going to see what else we can dig up.
Now improvised search parties are attempting to find it. Just what it is, no one is sure.
And then when it came up over the trees, I could see it was a bird, a huge bird.
We couldn't believe what we really saw. This thing was standing there, but it had a body just like a man. I see muscles in its legs. We sit there for a minute, looked at each other, and then we took off.
It's been almost 50 years since the first sighting of the so-called Mothman. But what was it? Just an urban legend, or is there really some truth in the bizarre encounters with this bird-like creature? The first recorded sighting of it was on November the 12th, 1966, when 5 grave diggers working near Point Pleasant, West Virginia, a small town with a very tight-knit community, claimed to have seen a man-like figure with huge bat wings fly down from nearby trees, straight over their heads. Then, just a few days later, on November the 15th, Roger Scarberry, his wife, and 3 other people ran terrified into the Mason County courthouse and reported that they had witnessed a 7-foot creature with glowing red eyes and huge wings. At first they thought the red eyes were car lights, but when they realized it was in fact a creature, they sped off very quickly, with everyone in the car later reporting that the creature followed them closely but flew off into the night sky as they approached. Deputy Millard Halstead, and the deputy said the terror in their eyes was very real, and that he was convinced they were not lying and did see something that followed them. The incident was taken so seriously that the deputy went with Scarberry back to the site near the McClinton Wildlife Management Area where the creature had first been spotted, and although nothing was found, it wasn't long before this sighting and the Gravediggers sighting got around and frightened the locals. In fear that this creature was roaming nearby, the townspeople took up arms and started combing the area to try and track down and kill it, but their efforts...
Alright, which is, you know what I'm saying, senseless because you got, being passed down through the Indians that they've been here, right? So you're chasing the damn ghosts. But go ahead.
Efforts were futile and nothing was found. Not long after, Marcella Bennett, who was completely unaware of the sightings, was visiting a friend who lived close to the wildlife area. As she left the house to walk to her car, she was confronted by a large grey, human-like creature that had giant wings and glowing red eyes. Marcella was so terrified she said she dropped her infant daughter and then fell on top of her. Marcella stayed like this for several minutes and was paralyzed with fear. She said she then stared into the glowing red eyes of the Mothman and was eventually able to get up and run back.
Now, when I hear this, right, when I hear that, I think about passages in scripture, right, where prophets were encountered by the Malachim, and they said they fell on their face, right? Let's go.
Eyes of the Mothman and was eventually able to get up and run back to the house with her daughter, where the police were quickly called. Her friends also witnessed this creature as it reportedly walked up to the porch of the house trying to peer in, but disappeared as police approached. Throughout the year, many more locals came forward with similar sightings, some saying that they had kept quiet about their encounter for fear they would not be believed. To the locals and everyone else, it was becoming clear that the Mothman was not a figment of imagination, but could in fact be real. All the witnesses described the exact same creature, with its dark human-like face, glowing red eyes, a huge wingspan, and also the strange way it took off. There was no flapping of wings, just a vertical takeoff from the ground as if it was jumping into the sky. There have of course been many...
Now haven't we seen that before, right? In Dracon footages?
Theories on what the creature could have been, ranging from an alien to a mutant sandhill crane. John Keel, who was a famous journalist, ufologist, and author of the Mothman prophecies, even said that he thought a few reports could have just been flying owls. The mutant sandhill crane idea came from the fact that near the location at which Roger Scarberry and the passengers in his car claimed to have spotted the Mothman was called the TNT area, which during World War II was used as a devoted area for ammunition manufacturing. While on that site are bunkers that would...
Alright, Shalaki, alright, so we know that some type of chemical is involved. And wherever there's chemicals involved, there the Dracon will be, because they're there to keep that in check. Again, they're there to keep Gog and Magog in check. As simple as that. Let's go.
Discovered to be leaking toxic waste into the nearby wildlife preserve.
Huh?
Now, many people think the Mothman could have been a mutated sandhill crane or other similar animal.
Dodge all damn hijack. Dodge your own damn hijack. How about that?
But probably the most believed theory is that the Mothman was some kind of prophetic creature who had come to warn the people of Point Pleasant of an impending tragedy.
Huh? There you go. Now we're cooking, I promise you, but I'm going somewhere with it.
This theory was brought about when on December the 15th, 1967, just over a year since the first sighting, the Silver Bridge, a steel bridge connecting the states of Ohio and West Virginia, and the main route into the town of Point Pleasant mysteriously collapsed. The accident took the lives of 46 people, 2 of which were never found, and on the day of the disaster, people witnessed something stood on top of the bridge. Many think that this is the Mothman, and it showed itself to warn the townspeople of the imminent disaster, or that it was responsible for the collapse of the bridge. After the bridge collapsed, the Mothman sightings completely stopped and it has never been seen again. Despite the tragedy, the town of Point Pleasant have kept this legend alive now more so than ever.
Alright. So the Mothman warns of impending danger. Now this is very important, right? Because I'm going to present a case. And I'm going to show how important this is, because this same Mothman, or not the same, but something of its kind, is being spotted in Chicago not too long ago. So is there impending danger coming to Chicago? Wow. We shall see.
And the town attracts hundreds of tourists every year who have an interest in the Mothman. It even held its first Mothman festival in 2002 that continued.
So you see, they understand, a great majority of the people there understand that this Mothman or Dracon was there to warn the people. And they take heed to Native American, you know what I'm saying, culture, or what is said around those parts. You know what I'm saying? They take heed to that, right? I think I heard somebody say, you know what I'm saying, in Native American culture, it said, I think from the beginning, if I'm not mistaken, that they have been here from the beginning, right? There go your clue. I mean, they even got whole festivals and shit, right?
Continues on the third weekend of every September, has unveiled a 12-foot metallic statue.
They even made a statue about it. Now, why do that if it was indeed something evil? These are the questions that we have to ask. Now watch me work. Alright. Now I found this footage. I posted it a while back. And this is the World Trade Center. Now I have you check the date. Right? May 29th, 2001, right? So this is right before September 11th, right? This is right before 9/11, right? All right, let's see if we see some Mothman or Dracon. God damn, my man, your timing belt off. Now watch this shadow here continue to ascend as you get some action flying by. Now, I know what you're gonna say. That's a big ass bird, huh? But if you if you pay attention to the windows, right? If you pay attention to the windows, right? And look at the portion of the bird compared to the windows. It's right before the World Trade Center, right? This is right before 9/11, right? Alright, so if indeed these are Mothman, Dracon if you will, that are warning of impending doom at their appearance, and then perhaps Chicago, you might want to keep an eye out on some impending doom. 9 Spiral. I'm out.